Hey guys, it's Chris. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys have not already, please hit that subscribe button, click the little bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. What have I been doing lately? I have a haul for you today, and I just want to also preface this by making a little poll or a sound off down below. Yeah, I went for the first time in over 2 years and got my teeth cleaned. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm just like, wow. And I actually found a dentist who is going to finally remove my bonding that is up here that is cracked and everything like that and redo it for me. And I believe it's going to be free. My insurance is going to pay for it. So I'm super duper excited. Work has been nuts. Like, now that at Staples, they consider our school, like, back to school, like, has already kind of started, and so they always need more hours for people. So it's just been kind of crazy. Like, all next week I'm working like almost all morning shifts, and I'm not used to working morning shifts. I'm used to being able to sleep in and make my lunch and do whatever, and and then go to work at 3 o'clock. So it's pretty nuts. Oh, so the poll, or the sound off. This is going to be kind of a long video, guys, because I am going to be reading, it's a wax haul, and I'm going to be reading scent descriptions to you guys because this website is really cool. This woman is just adorable. I love her, and I just think if you melt wax, you need her wax in your life. So I'm going to give you the scent descriptions. But the poll is, do you guys like watching my do's and duds videos? So that's like where I melt a bunch of stuff and then I tell you what worked for me, what didn't work for me. I'm going to tell you why I'm asking this question is because as a wax reviewer, do's and duds to me seem sort of, I want to initially say they seem like, yes, that has to happen, right? Otherwise, what are you reviewing? You're a wax collector video, you're a wax whatever video, and obviously I do Christian boxes and stuff like that, unboxings. You kind of just become an unboxing channel at that point. The problem I'm having is, and I think I figured out the problem. So I was watching a couple of my last do's and duds, and almost everything that I'm melting. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that a lot of what I've been melting from new vendors. So vendors that came after I got out of the wax world that I had never heard of or anything like that, have been from D-Stashes. And I'm melting them and saying, this ain't it. I don't understand what happened to everybody who can make good wax. It's just not. I have my one glade warmer, and I have the original glade warmer, which is a 20 watt. I have my 24 watt. I have my 18 watts. Or my 24 watts. As I'm melting this stuff, I am not getting, for the most part, there's really 2 vendors in all that I'm getting really good scents with and throws and, or decent, from really good to decent, whatever the situation is. And that is Whispering Meadows. Erin is the owner. I can smell her stuff. It's amazing. And Candles by Victoria. And Candles by Victoria, I think, again, you can't really put that in the indie melt category only because she's not a Walmart wax or anything like that. She's like way above and beyond that, but she's way above and beyond these small companies. So, but I was finding it very frustrating because I'm melting this stuff. I'm not enjoying what I'm melting. I don't want to say I'm not enjoying what I'm melting. I could be melting just for enjoyment. And I'm taking notes for my do's and duds and all that other stuff and everything like that. And I'm writing down the times, and I'm being very conscious of what I'm doing. So even if I'm binging on Netflix or anything like that, that is a problem because they were all coming up duds. Not all of them. There was a few scattered here and there that were okay. And even when I was rating them, I was finding myself kind of rating them higher. What I think my problem is, and I'm going to have to try, unfortunately, it's the middle of summer right now. I have a $3,000 HEPA filter unit, but this thing comes from NASA, and it's not even just a HEPA filter unit, okay? It's this big unit, and it sits in my living room / kitchen or dining room / kitchen area, and it, like, if you have the flu, and someone has the flu and comes into your house, you're not going to catch the flu, because not only does it suck everything out of the air, it also distributes ions that also sanitize your surfaces. I know it sounds so like extraterrestrial, whatever. It obviously really works because we got it for VOCs, which is off-gassing. So I finally put 2 and 2 together and said to myself, you know what? Your filter runs all the time down here where you're melting. That could be your problem, is that it's sucking all the scent to the filter. And so that's why you're not really smelling much, or what performs is not performing as well as you remembered. So I don't know that that's a problem, but with it being the middle of summer and allergy season, and oh, my allergies go crazy, like, I really need that thing to be running all the time, but I don't know if it's interfering. So post down below, do you guys watch Do's and Duds videos? And if not, and if it's not something you're really, really like into, and it's not something that you really, really want, let me know another way for me to review that you would, besides the cold snaps in the halls, that you would like me to do. Like, give me some ideas, because I really would like to let you guys know how something performed on warm, but I am letting you do that. I mean, I'm doing that for you. I'm just really shocked. I mean, maybe I am just getting wax that just is not up to my par. I mean, that could possibly be it, honestly, because people are like, oh, I love company X, or I love company Y, and they have Facebook groups, and they have, a ton of people in them and everything like that, and I'm just like, and I hear good things, and then I get it, and I'm like, I don't understand, like, what? Like, have you guys not really had good wax, or is this a me thing, my house thing, or whatever? So just post down below, guys. Let me know. Is it something that you really, really want to see? Because I understand, too, that they're also kind of subjective. So, but you guys know the amount of testing that I do and the rigorness, that's not a word, Chris. The time and the energy that I put into it, it's not like I just melt it and then say, okay, it melted good from 3 to 5 or whatever. I got like 5 hours out of it. Like, I go from, super strong to light to whatever, and how many hours of each, and I have my sort of baseline that I feel is a good wax melt. But I'm finding that as I go through this destash wax, which I'm hoping people are not selling old stuff. Don't think that would be the case, but I've gotten probably about 4 destashes thus far, and I've been pretty disappointed in the performance of all of them. And I'll give you a great example. So my Candles from the Keeping Room haul that I did from Lindsay, she did an amazing job. Absolutely amazing job. And somebody had posted underneath, because I had said, yes, she's paraffin, and so you're not going to get a whole lot of cold throw. But I've been very disappointed in even the throw that I'm getting. I mean, very disappointed. Like, shockingly, I'm shocked in Candles from the Keeping Room. And I know there's going to be people who are going to post below saying, well, I never really liked Carol's wax anyway, or whatever, and that's fine. But I know for me and my nose, Carol's wax always works for me. So it was kind of like one of those things that you could test against. Like, I know that Candles from the Keeping Room is going to throw, and it's going to be strong, and it's going to be long, and it's going to be great. And I'm not getting that. Lindsay did an awesome job. Like, the scents she picked out for me were amazing. And that's why I was questioning. I'm questioning bags. I'm questioning, like, everything, because I'm just like, I don't understand this. Do you guys watch Do's and Duds? Do you base things on Do's and Duds? Or do you not really? Because I'm just finding myself frustrated in the whole process of filming a Do's and Duds video, because it disappoints me. So as I'm filming the video and I've got my notebook and I'm reading you guys the notes, and I'm like, this was a dud, and this was a dud, and this was a dud. And I'm saying to myself, all these new vendors cannot be horrible. I just don't see how they can be. I'm like, they're making money. People are buying. They have Facebook groups dedicated to them, and they have so many fans, and I'm not understanding what the issue is. What's going on, within this house. So I'm like, okay, and you got to understand it's a new house too. It's a different layout, everything like that. But the factors that I've put in should not be affecting the throw of the wax. The only thing I can think of is that air filter over there, that HEPA filter, and I'm like, because it's so super strong and it's meant to pull viruses out of the air and pull, like even when I vape, you guys, like those filters are very, very expensive, and you're only supposed to have to get the main filter every 6 months, and you're only supposed to get them once a year. Mine have to do every 6 months, because if you open that up, you will find the filter has gotten wet. When you vape, you are emitting water vapor when you exhale. And so it's obviously being sucked into that filter, because the person who sold it to me came and he was just like, I've never seen this before. This is so weird. And I immediately said, it's got to be this, because there's nothing else. So if it's sucking all of that in there, it's got to be sucking the wax scents. I can do the do's and duds. I can continue to do them if you want me to without the filter, turn the filter off. But that's also going to be very time consuming and kind of crazy, because I'd have to have it off for like a full day for each melt or whatever the situation is. And it's going to take me a lot longer to get the do's and duds videos out to you. But just for my own enjoyment, I'm really thinking that that's going to, after the summer, that's probably going to have to go off, because I know there's no more VOCs in this house. I've been here a year, so there should be no more off-gassing happening in this house, which is what made me very sick. But due to it being allergy season and everything like that with pollen and all that, I think I'm going to take a break from that for a while. But you guys post down below. Let me know, please. Let's get the interaction up on this channel. Now that I've rambled for 14 minutes, but that was very important to me. I wanted to know, like, do you guys even watch do's and duds? Do you even take them into consideration? Like, if I say something's a dud, are you like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to buy from that company? Or if I say it's a do, you're like, okay, if Chris likes it, then, well, not necessarily the scent, obviously, that's subjective, but, you know, the performance, if she says the performance is that good, then okay. Because there's some groups that I'm in, too, that people are saying, like, oh my gosh, that threw for 5 days. And I'm like, 5 days? I've never had anything throw for 5 days. Like, what are you talking about? So it's really hard, because you don't really know what people are, like, are they saying that they turned it on and off and on and off and on and off? Because, like, if you say you put a little piece of wax in a wax melter and a wax warmer, and that thing through for 5 days and you never turned it off, that's just not, it's not the truth. It's just not. Like, it's ridiculous. At some point, that fragrance burns off. Like, you just can't. I think some people are just real stands for certain companies, and I get that, because, you know, I have people come here and comment and everything like that. Like, I made a comment about, who was it? Oh, it was, I think, Lurid Apothecary. I'm sorry. And wasn't a hit. It just wasn't a hit. And I'm not saying the scents were not a hit, because the scents were really, really nice. But I didn't like all the glitter. I don't like all the dye. I don't like all that stuff. And I know some people that I've talked to also have the same experience, but someone posted underneath, you know, oh, give her another shot. She's really good, or whatever. I think it was Lord Apothecary, but it was one of those. The new, you know, newer. When I say newer, I mean, like, since I've re-entered the wax world. New to me and newer to the OGs. And they're like, you know, but people are raving. And the thing that threw me was somebody posted down below and said, oh, the Candles from the Keeping Room has not changed. Carol has not changed her formula. So I'm like, maybe she changed her formula. And they're like, no. But because that came from a D-stash, I don't know how old this stuff is. And Carol does not put pour dates on. The other thing I want to say is that I had mentioned something about pour dates in one of the groups. And a lot of people are like, Super Tarts doesn't do it. Candles by the Keeping Room doesn't do it. So-and-so doesn't do it. Whatever. I'm shocked that Brandy doesn't do it. Brandy, first of all, I know you're not going to watch this, but I know you used to watch my stuff. Please get better. Please get better. And everyone just say a prayer for Brandy from Super Tarts, because she's going through some health issues right now, and it's really scary. And I can relate because my mom is going through some also. And it's kind of similar to what Brandy's going through. But anyway, so I'm just shocked that it's okay to people that vendors do not put pour dates on their stuff. I don't understand that. I mean, especially if they're going to have RTS, like, how do you know when this stuff was made? And it was in relation to a D-stash. So I was in a D-stash group and I made this comment because when you get a D-stash, we all know you get a D-stash, you're getting wax at a decent price. But I have some points of contention that bother me. First of all, D-stash people who kind of want to get their money back and they're charging almost like they're really not giving you a deal. Like maybe a small deal, but then you add shipping on top of that, whatever the situation is. You're really not. They're basically selling it really, really close to retail. I just don't understand. Like that's, to me, that's craziness. It's just craziness. It's like if you don't want it, like I would never go on a website and except unless it was a mystery D-stash, or a mystery box, which this is the next video I'm going to do, is. You know you're taking your chances, right? But I would never go on a website. I think that's the problem with these open and closes. Oh, you know, I have to hurry up and buy, is that people are getting any scent they can get their hands on, and then they get it and they don't like it. And so they're like, D-stash. Well, at that point, if these vendors do not have pour dates on it, then how are we going to know when it's D-stashed when it was made? And I don't all you got to do is write a little something, but writing now is supposed to be bad. And don't write on your labels because that's bad. You'll get crucified. I don't understand this wax community really anymore. Like I just don't. I don't mean I don't understand it, but it's almost like the toxicity from 2013 and 2014 is kind of still there, but it's less. It's like people are now more. They're concerned about weird things to me that seem really weird, like, a handwritten label or the flap over cello bags. You know what? Those are the only kind of bags that I want. I know those are good. Those are tried and true. They've always worked. I get it. But, oh, no, you can't have that kind of. I've talked to vendor friends, even the new vendor friends, and they're like, oh, no, I hand wrote my labels, and I got crucified, and I had the flap over cello bags, and I got crucified, and I was like, you guys, it's wax, just, who cares? It's not sucking out your fragrance, it's in a correct bag. The label, does it really matter? As long as it has all the information on it, the name of it, if they can fit a scent description, awesome, and a pour date, like, what difference does it make? Like, the things that people complain about nowadays just blow my mind, and not just in the wax world, just in general. It's nuts. So, is it okay for you guys? Anyway, some girl just wanted to argue with me, and I don't know who it is, so don't ask me, and I wouldn't tell you anyway. It's not anybody I know. And she wasn't arguing per se, like, she wasn't being, like, really aggressive. She was just saying, wax companies make their melts for us to buy and enjoy, assuming that we are going to melt them right away. And so they shouldn't have to feel obligated to put a pour date on it. Back in the day, that would have been unheard of. People, just would not have accepted that. And if there's any OGs out there that have never done it, it's something that must have slipped my mind, because that used to be a big bone of contention, because a lot of us have a huge not me right now, but have a huge wax stash, and we don't know when does something get too old that we can't destash it? When does, yes, for the purposes of destash, if I buy something or I get a destash, I've told you this before, you guys, that I'm going to put a date on it so that if the vendor doesn't do that. But you're going to tell me I handprint labels out on when I rebag everything. And if I can put a pour date or the date received on it, why can't these vendors? New or old? I don't understand it. Is that something that bothers you guys? Because it really bothers me. It almost seems like a sense of entitlement. Yes, I understand you can put a card in there, but that can get lost and just say, okay, 3 weeks after this date or whatever the situation is. But then not only is the customer paying for your product, then you are saying, you buy food, it all has an expiration date on it, right? We're not supposed to just guess, hey, is this milk still good? Should I eat it? Should I drink it or whatever? Like, that's not up to us to have to, worry about everything we put in our mouths or anything that has an expiration date, vitamins or whatever the situation is. It's like, I don't understand. If you are selling a consumable product, it should have I was going to say expiration date, but this is wax, so it should have a pour date on it, period. I don't understand. So post down below, guys. Is a pour date a deal breaker for you? Because it is for me. Like, if you do not post a pour date, if you don't put a pour date on your labels, then, and people saying, well, maybe they're labeled, maybe it wouldn't fit on their labels. Like, I can do it on mine, and my labels are not big. It's just ridiculous. Or you can add an extra little label, like a little heart. You know what I mean? Or something. I've seen people do that and stick it to the bag that has the pour date on it. So I just don't really, it just sounds like excuses to me. I don't know. Do you guys still want to see do's and duds? Is it something that you guys take into consideration when you purchase? Do you watch someone's do's and duds and go, okay, that vendor is off my list, or that vendor's on my list, or whatever the situation is? Or do you just kind of make up your own mind? Do you enjoy them, but just kind of make up your own mind? Or do you not watch them at all? So please let me know. Sound off down below. And the other thing, guys, the pour dates. Is that something that is, like, you just feel should be a must? Because I really do. I honestly really do. It should be a must, period. I don't get this. People, even like websites that don't have scent descriptions. I just did a whole... It took me about a week, if not more, whole scent description for Maggie's Sultry Scents. It was just something, I like to do that kind of stuff. I like to do that administrative stuff. She had a scent list, but not scent descriptions. Well, if you're going to be doing these flash sales or these quick open closes or whatever the situation is, people need to be able to go in, see what the scent description is, and go, oh yeah, okay, I like that one. Make a list. So that way when you guys open at, 9:05 or 9:02 or whatever the weird date is that, some of these vendors do open, my list is right here. So I can just throw everything in my cart and then bang, check out. Because otherwise, a lot of people, their carts expire. You only have 8 minutes until they expire or whatever the situation is. And I'm like, if people are looking up scent descriptions because they're not on someone's website, they go back, everything in their cart's gone. I don't know, guys. Again, scent descriptions, a must for a website. Let me be able to find it somewhere. If it's not on your Facebook page, let it be on your website, preferably your website. But if you can't, some people use Etsy, and I don't know if they can or they have to do it separately. But I don't even mean separately. Etsy, I don't like how Etsy does this. And I know this is not the vendor's fault, but they can do a scent description, but they have to do like each individual, like they have a heart tart in serendipity, and then they have to write a description, and they can put the scent description in there, but they don't have anywhere on Etsy where you can just make a list as a separate file that people can go into and look at. But is that a no-go for you? Because I'll be honest with you, it's a no-go for me, because the situation is that they're using all different kinds of oils. So like I could look up, I don't know, we'll say Bahama Mama, right? I could go, oh, there's no scent list description. So I can look up Bahama Mama, but I don't know what oil that person is using. And I could get like 3 different kinds of Bahama Mama that are really different. And especially when you get in like to the earthy scents and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen it by doing lists for other people and looking up scents myself. I just think pour dates an absolute must on your packaging, and scent descriptions on your webpage or your Facebook group or wherever you want to put them, but like make it known to people that like those are definites for me. Otherwise, forget about it. It's just like if you can't put in the time, but then you just say, oh, well, people can just Google it. No, we really can't, because if we Google it, we don't know what brand of oil you're using. And then we may say, oh, okay, I can't do pine, and say Jack Frost. I'm just using an example. Like, oh, this Jack Frost has cedar and peppermint, and this Jack Frost has pine and peppermint. And then you don't know what to do. Is this the pine one or is it the cedar one? you know, so anyway, that's it, guys. So I didn't even know I was going to make this video. I'm coming back at you. Get ready for a haul. Take care, guys. I love you. Post down below.